Hello and welcome to Running Your Stories. This is episode 10. We're going to have Carl on this episode. Absolutely fascinating discussion with Carl. I've just had the chat, I just recorded it and now recording the intro. Carl takes running to a complete another level. I have to say he goes beyond anybody I've spoken to in person before. Absolutely top runner. Really interesting guy, very, very down to earth. So sticks with the Running Your Stories philosophies of making things inclusive and something for everybody here. It's a really interesting interview. I hope you enjoy this one and let's welcome Carl. Thank you. So welcome Carl.
Welcome.
Welcome to Running Your Stories. Been looking forward to having you on for a while. It was a few months ago we met, I think, wasn't it? At
we get the Ginathlon, right?
The Ginathlon, yes, where I was experimenting with doing some outside recording, which I haven't quite worked into any episodes yet. Interestingly, there's another podcast which I quite like myself called On the Trail.
Right.
Two guys down in Bristol, and they always do a recording on the trail. Hence the name.
Yeah.
Couple of middle of the pack, back of the pack runners like myself, and yeah, they always do their pieces of live recording. So yeah.
Is that interviewing people as well?
Yeah, they interview people. They talk a lot about their own running, their own races, but Thane just did the summer version of the Spine race,
yep.
so the 268 miles.
The Flare and Fusion.
It'll be the Fusion, I think, is the long one. So yeah, that was a good episode. So, and apparently we're going to do a crossover at some point,
right?
Which will be fun.
Yeah, very good.
So yeah, so here we invite people on, as you know, to tell your story.
Well, I haven't actually been running that long, probably 7 or 8 years. Getting divorced, discovered that running actually made me feel a bit happier.
Yep. So
one thing, like a lot of people, thought, oh, what's this 10k race? And it were the Pennine 10k. I don't think they run it anymore. So I entered that middle of January, so it was quite cold. Yep. Didn't do particularly that good, but I enjoyed it. And then, as usual, what can I do next? Great North run end of that year, so entered that. And then next, the marathon. Entered that, so I entered Edinburgh Marathon. And then things just got a bit longer and longer. So from when you did that first 10k race to doing your first marathon, what was that, about a year or a bit longer? Probably about 18 months.
Yeah.
So like it was January for the first 10k, and it was the May time, probably just over 18 months after.
Yeah. Which marathon was it?
Edinburgh.
Yeah. So road marathon.
Yeah. And still the only one that I've done.
Yeah.
I've done marathons on end of triathlons, Ironman, and I've done obviously trail marathons and longer stuff, but that's the only road marathon I've done. Very
good. So after that, working into...
I discovered that I like running and I like running longer, so looked at the things that these ultras, I like something. I've read lots of books on the subject, and I picked one that we're going to do for my first one. It was going to be the rat race, the wall, and it was about 12 months before it, so it's not right. That my goal. And then one night, looking at some people at the Triathlon Club were talking about this race called the Ring of Fire in Anglesey. So I thought, why not? So I entered that. That were beginning of that year. So I think that were in the September time. So early on in the year, I entered that. This was before I'd done the wall, and then I saw that the wall had 2 points for the UTMB, and the Ring of Fire had 4 points. So I thought, what's this UTMB? So I had a look at that. All right, you need 8 points to apply. I thought, that looks like a nice race. So a friend of mine that were doing the Ring of Fire, I said, can you think of another race that's got 2 more points? I need 8 points. He says, oh yeah, there's one next Saturday. So I'm doing it, Calderdale Way, and this were on the Monday. So all right, that'll do. So this was 2 weeks before the wall. So I emailed the lad that were running. He said, well, entry's closed, but I'll fit you in. So I ran my first ultra that Saturday, and we finished it. And then 2 weeks later, I did what was supposed to be my first ultra, the wall.
Yeah. So Calderdale Way, is that 50 mile?
It was 50 mile, but we took a few. We got value for money. We'll put it that way. I think we got about 53 in. Yeah. And it wasn't particularly fun. Nick, my friend, and a couple of people, we ran together. We weren't trying to break any records. Yeah. But we finished it. We did all right.
Yeah.
So then I got my UTMB points and applied for it and got in first year, which I was quite lucky at.
Yeah, it's crossed my mind putting in for it, and like you say, it's one of I think it's one of those things. In fact, we had a guy on called Clark Hind. I don't know if you've come across him yet. So. Another local guy. He's just done the Western States.
Right.
Yeah. That was similar. He'd done a qualifying race, and he thought, well, I might as well throw my name in the hat.
Yeah.
And it's even longer odds in that to get in first time you've applied. Yeah. And he got straight in, so he went and did it. Did very well at it, considering it wasn't really on his agenda before.
Just thought, why not? I might as well have a go.
You're not going to turn it down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So UTMB, that's quite a big one.
Yeah. It was a tough one.
Yeah, a few hills.
Yeah, 10,000 metres of climbing.
Yeah. So I've been it's just been on, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
The 2018 one, I was following it a bit. And I was in Chamonix in July, going up climbing the mountains rather than running.
Absolutely gorgeous place in the world.
It is. Yeah. It's a fantastic place. Absolutely, really love it there. I managed to do a little bit of trail running while I was there. I think you have to.
Definitely.
It would have been wrong not
There's
to.
Some gorgeous cafes at about 2,000 metres up some of these climbs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very disappointed to find out the lake, the Lac Blanc one is temporarily shut down because the guy hadn't been paying his taxes for like 10 years or something. We still had a swim in the lake. I don't know if you tried that while you were there. Yeah.
No.
It's a glacial lake.
Right.
Half of it was still frozen.
Doesn't sound like it's not appealing to me.
It's a bit on the chilly side.
Yeah.
When I say swim, I mean like
a dip.
3 or 4 meters.
Yeah, I don't really like cold water.
Yeah, so how did you get on with UTMB? I mean, for me, that's like a legendary race.
It was tough. I had a couple of low moments. Sort of like, because I got to Cormaya, which is I think it's a little bit less than halfway, but it's a big checkpoint. In about 15 hours, I thought, it's not too bad. But I think I probably just felt a bit tired, so I tried to sleep. I had about 10-15 minutes, thought it's not happening. I had something to eat and thought I'd plod on. I ran with a few people, kept going, and I had a few low points. I think I bumped into a lad that I'd seen actually on the wall. I'd seen at another race at the Felsman that we'd done. We'd not really spent a lot of time running with each other, but we'd seen each other. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up running the last 25 miles together. We were great company, and sort of like you're chatting away, miles are disappearing, and it just made it so much more enjoyable. So it was tough.
Yeah, because you were asking earlier before we started this a little bit about kind of where the podcast came from. Yeah. That's actually where it comes from, because I'm very recently into ultra running and long distance stuff. Recent enough that I can remember how hard it was to run 5k. Yeah. And like you say, it's that running for 5-10 hours with somebody, even though either you only vaguely knew or never met before. Yeah. It's just such a great experience.
Absolutely.
That just trying to kind of bring some of that kind of chat to a surfer, rather than it only being out there locked away in those misty memories when you're having hallucinations.
Yeah, well, you were on 30-40 miles with someone, you get to find out the life story.
Yeah, and it's great. You end up with lifelong friends.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like you say, the people you never knew before a race. Yeah. So, I think one of our very first episodes, episode 2, I think, was with Fiona. And Fiona and I met on the Oldham Way Ultra. Right, yep. Probably within the first half hour of it, I started running with her. Yep. Ran the next 7.5 hours together. Stayed friends ever since. It's just,
it's easily done, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So how long did UTMB take?
41 hours 38 minutes. So it wasn't the fastest, but I was reading all the documentation beforehand, and they were saying like this year we had to stop it because weather were that bad and we had to cut it short. And this year, and the sort of like underlying message you got, well, it's going to rain a lot and it's going to be very damp. The year that I did it, which I think was 2015, it was the first year that it was that sunny. People were dropping like flies because of the heat. Yeah,
it can get really hot there.
And I think loads and loads of people dropped out because it was that hot. which obviously from everything I'd read, I wasn't expecting that.
No.
But it was tough.
Yeah.
But then I sort of put my foot in it. We got back, we were at Triathlon Club, and as awards do, we'd all had a few beers. One of my friends that I do a lot of running with, I said, "Oh, you want to do it UTMB, Claire?" And she's like, "I haven't got enough points." So I'll do it TDS then. She said, "Well, if you do it with me." I went, "Yeah, all right then." Next thing, we both signed up, we both do it TDS. So we did that 2016. And I'll be honest, although it's shorter, people might think it's an easier option. I think it's tougher than UTMB.
Well, I think some of the shorter races are tougher because you look at it as being shorter, so you think I can go faster.
I think the only thing it's got in its favour, you're only missing one night of sleep, rather than UTMB, you're missing, because it starts at 6 p.m, you're missing 2 nights of sleep. But the climb's absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. But again, we finished it and we did all right.
Yeah.
All good fun. But never again. I must, because me and some of my friends over doing UTMB this year, and like I say, it's a stunning part of the world.
Yes.
And I'm watching up pictures and all updates, and I thought, yeah, it's great, but I don't want to do it again. Once was enough.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking similar about doing Mont Blanc by the kind of the ordinary tourist route that I did this summer, and you kind of think, yeah, like you say, when you're in these places, you whether it's running or climbing, you get into areas of the mountains that you wouldn't ever be in otherwise. And it's just absolutely breathtaking, and you wouldn't mind going back to these places, but like you say, going back over exactly the same ground to get there, I'm not so sure as well. I know where you're coming from with that. Yeah. So at some point you must have started getting just strong at long distance, or?
Well, yeah, I discovered that I enjoyed running for longer. Like I said, those are earlier races like the Col Way and the Wall and Ring of Fire. I wouldn't say I were, were particularly strong, but I found I were all right. I think the first race I ever won, I went to crew for someone else. They were doing a double Ironman. I were doing what they called Run to Max. So it was a 1.1 mile loop, and originally I just intended to run the 52 miles with the person doing triathlon. But then I thought, well, I've got some time on my hands, so while they were swimming, while they were on the bike, I was doing some more running. And then the person that were in lead, so I'm having to stop, avert my knee, and he was 103 miles. So I thought, oh, I've got a nice target to beat. So I got 108 miles, so I actually won. First race I'd ever won. And I thought, oh.
So was that a timed event then?
It was a timed event, but it's called Run to the Max, and it's such a good idea because it's the Enduroman weekend, so there's lots of events going on. You've got 50 mile ultras, 100 mile, 200 mile, then you've got triathlons range from half Ironman up to sometimes triple, sometimes quint, depending what they've got up there. But this Run to the Max, you start running when you want, you stop running when you want. So some people, if they've got like friends or family doing other races, they can do this and just start and stop when they want. So it's such a good idea. Some people might not want to run 50 miles, might not want to run a marathon and have it as like a timed event, but they can go and do it at Run to Max at their own pace, and there's no pressure on them. So it's in fact this year I've been back twice more since, and this year I had more entrants in the Run to the Max than any other events, because people can just do what they want with it. Not everyone goes to run as far as they can, as possible, but the option is there to do it.
But I guess it's a really good environment if somebody wanted to get 50 mile for the first time.
Absolutely, it is, and there's no, because obviously they do a 50 mile ultra, but with Run to Max, there's no pressure of DNFing. If you don't want to run 50 miles, you don't have to, and you do one lap, you get a medal, and they're a great set of people. It's a really, really good event, and it's in May. In fact, it's about 17th of May next year, down in Avon Tyrrell.
Right. Can't
recommend it enough.
Yeah, sounds an interesting one. Yeah, maybe an interesting way to test where you're at as well, sort of fitness and headspace.
Yeah.
I haven't
although it's 1.1 miles loop, people think, oh, well, you must be bored, and you never get bored. The seat where you've got a lovely lake, you've got some woods, you've got great support from all the other people that are doing other events. They've got crews there and they all cheer you on. It's absolutely brilliant, so you never get bored, even though you're running around quite a long time.
It's an interesting one, because I'm looking to do my first 24-hour race sometime next year. I've just put an entry in for the Lakeland 100
Right.
in the summer. So I'm just. I think they'll accept it because I've done the Spine Challenger.
Yeah.
So I should really qualify me for it. I know I can do it, but obviously you've got to prove to the organisers that you're going to be safe, that you can do it. If I get that, that's kind of my main race in the middle of summer. Otherwise, there's a new Castle Short 24, which is organised by friends of ours, which just over the other side of the hills from here. Looks like a really good.
What time of the year is that?
That's early July.
Right.
I think like 6th, 7th of July or something.
Right.
But with Lakeland 100 being end of July, it's too close together to do two things like that. It is for me.
Maybe.
Anyway. Yeah. Well, you see, if I enter, I know obviously you can enter a 24-hour race and you can do whatever you want with it, how much you run and everything else. If I enter a 24-hour race, I want to get more than 100 miles in 24 hours. Yep. That's my target. Yep. And so
and you want to use the whole 24 hours.
Exactly. And then I'd want to see if I can get past that. How far past that can I go? Yep. And that's what would motivate me to keep running around the loop. Yep. I don't want to go along and run around the loop for 18 hours and say, well, that's all I'm doing because I've got this bigger race in 3 weeks' time. Yep. That's not going to work for me. Nothing. If that can work for you, brilliant. Go for it.
People have different motivations to run, and I don't say anyone's wrong for whatever they want to do.
No, yeah. But I'm kind of a target sort of motivated person. So if I set a target, I'm going to push myself to it, even if the body starts physically failing. I'll still keep pushing. Yeah. Yeah. So, where did you get up to? So you were doing your run to the max.
Yeah.
You won that.
Yeah, won that. So then
accidentally.
But the following year, I went back with the intention, because I wasn't crewing for that time. I went back with the intention to run as far as I could. Yeah. So I've had a figure in my mind, but I wasn't going to tell anyone. But I mentioned it to one of my friends. Next thing, he puts it all over Facebook that I was trying to run 10 marathons in this weekend. Oh, thanks for that. I didn't manage my 10 marathons, but I got 202 miles, so I won that again, and I set the course record. No one's got close to beating me yet. In fact, I went back this year. I didn't go last year, but I went back this year. And so one of my friends, he says, so what are you trying to beat? I says, well, I'm trying to beat my record. He says, that one that no one else is going to get anywhere near to. I said, well, yeah, you've got to try, haven't you?
Well, yeah, you do. I mean, the Bob Graham record's just been broken after, what was it, 39 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to
I think that's probably going to stand for a while as well.
That was something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah. So 202 miles.
Yeah, 202.4.
Yeah. How long did that take?
That was about 61 hours.
Yeah. Keep going for 61 hours.
I thought that the year we did it then, because we could start running, I think about 8 a.m. on the Friday morning, and that seemed to work a lot better, because we could have run technically till I think about 2 a.m. Sunday morning, but I stopped before that. I'd had enough. But I thought, I've done what I've intended to. I've run as far as I could. If I tried to push myself any further and got injured, there were no point. Yep. Whereas this year we started at 4 p.m. and it threw all your sleeping out. Because starting at like 9 in the morning, by sort of like 5 a.m. the following day, it was a decent time to have a sleep. So it's had an hour's kip. When you go up, have a shower, put some new clothes on, it felt like you've had a full night's sleep. Yes. Whereas starting at tea time, you didn't really feel like asleep in the morning. So I went on till sort of like tea time next day. It wasn't quite as, it didn't quite flow as well. But, it was same for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So then, in amongst all that, I heard about this race. I read a book about this lad doing a race called the Spartathlon. I thought, there's no way I'd ever be able to do that. I'd never be able to run fast enough to get a qualifier. If you look at the 100k time, I think, at the time it was 10.5 hours. Now it's gone down to 10 hours. I thought, there's no way I'll be able to run that fast. But then when you started looking down it, I thought, 100 mile, I think it was 21.5 hours. Well, I'd just done a race where it was just a little bit outside that. Mm-hmm. So I read a bit further down, and it were any race above 220 kilometres, less than 41 hours. Oh, I had one of those, so I applied, and I managed to get in. Again, first year, so I had a bit of beginner's luck, and that was 2016. So after the TDS, I went and did Spartan, finished that, which I'm very proud of. I'm back again this year.
So, come on, tell us about the Spartathlon.
It's very warm. Apparently last year it did rain a little bit. We didn't have any rain whatsoever. Ridiculously hot. A checkpoint every 3 or 4 kilometres. I'm talking to someone before, and it says, so if you, I think it's like 74 checkpoints. So if you waste a minute at each one of those, it's like an hour and a quarter gone. So and it is 36 hours for 153 miles. It's tight. And the way that the cut-offs are, up to the first 50 miles, it sort of encourages you to really run a bit too fast.
Yeah.
After that, the cut-offs do get a little bit more generous, but up to that first 50 miles, you do have to run at a pace that a lot of people wouldn't generally try and run 150 mile race at. It's same for everyone. We've all got to do it, but it is quite tough. So just it's one of the few races where just to get a finish, it's a massive achievement. So my first attempt, I was very, very proud to finish it.
Absolutely.
So back again. I didn't apply last year. I had a bit of my challenge for last year was supposed to be something a little bit big. I tried to run from Lansdowne to John O'Groats, then grab my bike and cycle opposite direction. Well, I was running top to bottom and cycling bottom to top. So I'd left my bike down at Cornwall at my friends. Started at top, got doing it like 50, 60 mile a day, got 400 mile in, and I got my legs sort of swelled up, and it all had some described as like a red mark on it. Didn't hurt, but I took some pictures of it and said, you need to go and get that looked at. So, although there were no pain, I thought I'd best go and get this looked at. And it turned out it was cellulitis. I don't think it was anything to do, well, no one could say what caused it, just that I had it. So I had to stop my run. 400 mile in, and I was a bit gutted. So I sort of lost love for running a little bit last year.
Yeah.
Back end of the year, I found my love again. So, which is good, but we all go through these things.
Yeah.
So I'll be back to finish it off not next year, hopefully year after. It was going to be next year until a few other races have come up, and I've signed for them instead. But it's still there.
Yeah. So you just ran 400 miles.
Yeah, just 400 miles. Sadly not the 860 that I planned though.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around that. I mean, the speed of doing the 150 odd at Spartathlon, especially in the heat, that's like you say, incredible. The heat's my biggest weakness, which is why I like going for these winter mountainous races.
I think they have different problems. Like I've done the Spine Challenger, and I had some tough moments in that. Whether I'd say I prefer cold to heat, I'm not really sure. I think you can struggle in both.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yeah, as you say, different challenges.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess the big question that's coming into my mind really is how you keep yourself fit enough for doing all this, because it just seems like you've got a body that can do it.
Yeah.
And so you go and do it.
Yeah. I don't really think too much about it. I don't stick to a set diet or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Probably had like the odd beer too many often. Who knows? Like I say, I don't take things too seriously. I run because I enjoy it, and that's the top and bottom of it. I enjoy running a lot, so I'll go out and run a lot. And I suppose like anything, you do it a lot, you get better at it.
Yep.
But I'm not one of these that thinks, right, you need to do a long run, you need to do hill work, you need to do speed work to be able to be a runner. I know a lot of people think that's the way to do it. Fine, if that's what they want to do, but that's not for me. I go out. Some people used to say, oh, you run too many miles. I think now they realise that I only run what I feel comfortable to do.
Yeah.
I don't go getting injured, so I'm obviously not doing something that my body's not happy with. So people don't tend to be saying that you're running too many miles anymore. Like I say, it's very rare I go out and run fast. So although I'm doing quite a few miles, it's not really the intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Where someone going out and wanting to run fast at park runs, they'll go out and they'll run really, really fast. They might not run every day, but still, I would find that painful.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I did a for me, a fast park run yesterday, it was just the club I run for were doing a takeover day, so I went along and ran it. And I agree, running fast hurts a lot more.
Absolutely.
A fast 5k hurts more than for me than like you say, my normal. I also like to go out and just enjoy the trail and run. And fast 5k probably hurts more than 30k, I would say.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. But I think. I mean, this is one of the things that stood out when we had a very quick chat when I first met you. Is this philosophy of running to enjoy it, which I think's really good, because I've been doing something similar, because I've only been running like in any kind of focused way for just over 2 years now.
Right.
Like 2 years and 1 month or something. Right. And I've gone from running 5k just over 2 years ago to I've done 100-mile race. I've got 2 60-mile races coming up. I'm entered for 2 more 100-mile races after that, which it's a pretty short space of time.
Yeah.
So I have read up on things, and I have tried to train smart and follow training strategies, but for me it's because I know I am in danger of pushing my body too far, because I'm been ramping up so fast that I've had to kind of, not that I would take somebody else's word of that you're doing too much of that, because I completely agree with you. The way I've ramped up is being about listening to my body.
Exactly, and no one knows your body like yourself. So although someone might say you're doing too much, you know yourself, and like I say, no one knows you better than yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's a really, really important thing for people, because I was talking to somebody who's kind of probably the next level on from me already, but not too far ahead of, with experience than myself, and he's saying, oh well, my trainer said I need to be doing these runs, and I'm going to get wrong because I did an extra run tonight, and it's kind of like, well, just if you want to do an extra run, do an extra run.
Before the wall that was supposed to be my first ultra, because I'd looked at it about 12 months in advance, I remember reading a book, what was his name? I can't remember the author's name, but Coast to Coast. So I think he did it over about 5 days. And he had this coach. So I thought, right, I'm going to email this coach, an American guy, Mad Dog I think he was called. So I emailed him, and basically he says, yeah, I might be able to help you, I'm come up with a plan. And he's saying, you'll need to do this and this, and like you'll have to do a long run on a Sunday. And I said, well, I work shifts at the time, because I'm divorced, my daughter stayed with me sometimes. Obviously when she was younger, you can't just leave her and go running. Says, I can't just do like a long run at set, because my work's different. I can get the hours in, but I can't do it. He says, oh no, you need to do it like the same time every week. So well, I work 12 hours a day when I'm working shifts. He says, well, you've got 12 hours, you're not working then. I thought, this guy, he's not listening to me.
Exactly.
And as far as he was concerned, that was the only way to do it. And I thought, well, I don't think it is, and it wasn't. I did it my way. I still got the miles in, I still did it, but I didn't do it like a long run on a Sunday, because I can't do it every week.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that, because I am also a believer, and it's kind of, some people might think I'm contradicting myself, so I need to try and explain it a bit. I'm a believer in there are proven things that work.
Yeah.
There are proven training methods, there's proven diets that work. And I'm a big believer in, there are a lot of hypochondriacs out there that say, oh well, that won't work for me because I'm special in this way or that way. Now, what you've said about that won't work for me because I've got a job and a kid, and that's stopping me from doing it, that's fine. That's because that's life. When there's a lot of people who,
because we're all said and done. I run because I enjoy it, but
exactly.
It's still pleasure. It still has to. We have to go to work. We have to earn a living.
Yeah.
It's like we've got to put it into context. We're only doing something that is a hobby.
Yes. So the hobby needs to fit around your life.
Yeah.
And that I completely agree with. And you have to be flexible. One of the issues I have is, well, I have a massive benefit in that I work from home. So especially in the winter, it's brilliant. I can, not every day, but certain days of the week, I can take like a 2-hour lunch and I can go and do a nice run in the daylight in the middle of winter. That's fantastic. But it does mean that I have to go away to the States to see customers, or go to Asia to see customers. The long flights batter your body.
Great places to run though.
Well, I struggle in the heat. So earlier this year I had a back-to-back. I had a week in Texas, in Austin, and then a week in Malaysia in Penang.
Right.
I did a run in each, just to post up on Strava. I've run on 3 continents in 8 days. You know, it's a great thing to do, but I can't run distances in that kind of heat, but still keep the body turning over. And so the fitness kind of doesn't drop too much. But it means that, you know, when I'm working up to a race, I look at it and I think, okay, you know, the training plan sort of says I should be, you know, peaking with my longest runs. That's whatever, I think it said 4 weeks before the race or something, which sounds very sensible. Because then you've got a bit of time to rest and recover before you do it going into the race. But that week, I was going to be on a plane for a week. So I'm going to have to do it the week before.
Yeah. And it's not going to make any difference to you.
Yeah, and I don't think it makes a huge difference. It's, I think if you can follow these plans and can follow, you know, the kind of proven methods exactly, good on you, and you probably will improve faster.
Who knows? And like I say, I think
if you lose your love for it because you're trying to force yourself to only do it that
and that's what I've seen a lot of people thinking, not just with runners but with triathletes, right, I've got to stick to this program, I've got to swim this, I've got to swim, and if you miss something they get a bit upset that they've done that, and to me I think that's counterproductive.
Yes.
Because we are all amateurs and we're doing it for pleasure, so if you're not enjoying, because when all said and done, the most of your time you spent training rather than racing, if you're not enjoying the training, why are you doing it?
Yes.
You know, you've got to ask yourself, why put yourself through all that, saying I've got to stick to this regime religiously, and you're not enjoying it?
Yep. Yeah, well, that's like, so last Sunday I was supposed to do like a sort of 15-mile run, so I went and did a 15-mile fell race. I didn't race it too hard because I didn't want to hurt myself a couple of weeks before a big race, but enjoyed it. You know, there's a bunch of mates going to do it.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't rub it in. I still finished ahead of a couple of them that were pushing themselves as hard as they could. But nowhere near the guys at the front. But yeah, went along, had fun, and it's a good experience. It was tough.
These short ones can be very tough.
So yeah, there's some tough short fell races. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I find racing shorter distances a lot harder. I'm much further towards the, well, if I enter, like I did the home Moss Fell race in July, and this was Castle Car I did last Sunday, and I'm back of the pack in those. Whereas like Oldham Way Ultra, ended up with 5 of us finished and joined second place.
Right.
And it's just kind of, you know, I moved. I'm nowhere near the elite guys, you know. Don't get me wrong, but at least I moved maybe to the front of the main pack, rather than. I'm not going to win the big races, but who knows in the future?
Absolutely, you never know.
Keep enjoying it and keep.
And that's what it's about.
Keep seeing where my body can go.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy. Just keep seeing what the body can do. Try not to break it too much. I was a bit broken after the spine in January.
Well, yeah, I was. That was the first time I'd done 100 miles.
And me.
And so my feet swelled up a little bit, which totally, I expect. But my hand had swelled up as well. Yeah. And I thought, well, it's a bit strange. Now I know what it was, because my hands obviously a bit cold. I didn't loosen my watch off. So now I know to check that and make sure it's nice and loose. At the time I didn't. So because of that, and my feet thought, I best. So someone else said, ring this 111, speak to them and see what they say. So this is right, you need to enter walking centre, I think it was at Dewsbury. So I went and they did all these tests. You've just run how far? And he looked at me like I'm stupid. Yes. And sit down there. Well, your heart rate seems to be higher than, is that bit? Well, yeah, just a little bit of running. Anyway, they did all these tests, couldn't find anything wrong. And then a couple of days later, it still hadn't gone down. But where I work, they have this physio. Mm-hmm. So you basically just book a slot with her, company pays, so it's all free. And she's, all right, so she starts massaging it. Next thing, right as rain. Huh? And I think it was my watch was too tight. So absolutely nothing to worry about. But at the time you think, oh, why is my hand a bit big?
Yeah, well, I kind of got, well, I definitely got lucky. I'd overtrained, as you do. I had pushed my body further than it was ready to go before the race. So a week before, my hips were almost completely locked up. I was in pain walking. And I thought, I'm going to have to.
You're probably not ideal before a race.
No, not a week before your first 100-mile race. Furthest I'd run before that was 30.
Right.
So I just had to kind of ring around physios to find somebody that could book me in. I was just lucky that the one I landed with, Pro Sport Physio in Saddledown Nook,
Right.
guy there, Will, who was just the guy that was available. He was brilliant, because you hear so many stories about people going in to see the physio and they say, like you were saying there, so how far have you run? What are you trying to do? Are you stupid? Whereas I went in to see him and I said, look, this is on the Tuesday and the race is on the Saturday.
Yeah.
I said, right, I'm in some pain now. I want you to try and help me with this. I don't expect you can cure it in one session. I'm realistic. But just see how far through the race you can get me before it starts hurting again. If I can get 50 miles in before it hurts again, I'll be absolutely over the moon. The hips never hurt through the whole race.
Right.
He sorted me out. And then I went back to see him after the race. So with all my feet and ankles were massively swollen. But
Which I suppose you've got to expect from running 100 miles.
yes, but the first time you do it, the first time you see it, it's like, what's going on here? So yeah, I had a number of sessions and basically learnt all about this stuff. How you can't prevent it, but you can help yourself with it. There's things you can do to help yourself, and I learned loads of extra stretches that I didn't know about.
See, are you a big one for stretching?
Well, what I never was, since having been through so much pain and finding out how much the stretches can help me, I've learned a lot more stretches, and I'm a big believer in the importance of them. But I still spend as little time as possible stretching.
See, I think I once read something a while ago saying with stretching you either do it regularly and properly or not at all. So I just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
And this physio that we used to have at work, Trish, she was brilliant. So like say you just book an appointment with her, and she's quite often she just give me legs a right good rub. But she always used to listen to me talking about me running. She never said I ran too far. And she was absolutely brilliant. For the Ring of Fire, so I'd only been running 18 months, like 2 years, not so long. Now I know now I was running my feet quite flat-footed.
Yeah.
I've changed it now and run fronts of my feet. But at the time I didn't know this, and I had some pain in my knee. So I thought, right, what shall I do? Went to go and see physio, because this was the week before Ring of Fire. I couldn't even manage. I went out to do about a 4-mile run. I couldn't even manage it. I had to limp home. I thought, this is no good. So a friend of mine said, I've got a knee strap. Put that on it. So I tried to put that on it. Next day I went out. I couldn't even manage a mile and a half. I thought, oh no. So I went in work the next day. I went to go and see her. And I says, look, obviously I've had this Ring of Fire, which is 135 miles over 3 days. So obviously you're not going to tell me to go and do a race. So she examined it. Said, well, you've not damaged anything. So it's something. It's not. So I think I felt a little bit more reassured with that.
Yes.
She says, what's the difference between not starting and stopping if it hurts? I says, well, nothing. Cost of a tank of petrol. So there you are then. So I thought, right. So because I wasn't going to start the race. So I drove because I didn't try and run again. I drove there to Anglesey not knowing if I'd be able to run a mile. And I did, I finished it. So I thought, oh, absolutely brilliant. Sadly, she's gone to work somewhere else now. And we've got another guy, and he went to see it first time. He told me I ran too much. And he started rubbing my legs, and he stuck his fingers that far in me. Oh, I made him, I'm not going to go. So I've not been seeing him again.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to be said for finding the right person, isn't there? Because, you do need advice from time to time, everybody.
I think it was more the reassurance in that case, the fact that she said you've not damaged anything.
Yes.
And I knew that I wasn't going to hurt myself by running. And I think knowing that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to kind of get at, is that you need the advice about their expertise, not the advice about your lifestyle and your choices. That's your choice. Yeah. But they can feel like the
and she said, oh yes, you've told this, if you run you're going to do this and this, then you're fair enough, you know not to stop. But when she's not fair enough, and that's why I didn't know whether I'd be able to run, but I did. So
well, that was like after the spine, and I was hobbling, and I went in. I got like a sports massage at first, and kind of had a couple more days to let swelling and that go down. Then I went for the sort of physio appointment so he could start to work with us, and so I think it'd probably been about a week since the race then, and I said, well, I've had a week off from running. How much longer do you think I should have off? And he says, well, do you want to run? He says, yeah. He says, we'll go running then.
That's
I
it.
thought, yeah, I like this guy.
If you're ready, if you want to do it, go and try it. If you go out and you find out you can't run as far as you maybe thought you were going to do, then fine, you run shorter.
Yeah. He says, if something hurts, let me know, and I'll help you with it.
Yeah. Which, to me, I think that's the right attitude.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Like I say, it's trying to find these people, and it's not about them trying to push you to do anything. It's you got to make your own choices.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes having that little bit of a, the expert opinion, so you help you decide what's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
you need the extra information.
Exactly.
I think that's the thing. Then you make your own choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I've been kind of loving about the running is there's only one person that makes the choice, isn't there? Only one person decides which race you're going to enter, whether you're going to finish or DNF. It's you can take all the advice and talk to people, listen to people or not listen to people. It's your choice at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
It's great. I love it. Everything else in your life, somebody's telling you what to do and what you can and can't do, and you're trying to keep people happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fitting in your training around your work.
Yeah, I work shifts, so it's quite straightforward, really. At the moment, I'm on a running streak, so from 20th of November, I thought, right, I'm going to run every day. And I've like 290 days, I think what it is. So like tomorrow, 12-hour shift, so 12-hour day, so I finish at 7 o'clock. When I go home, I'll probably run 2 or 3 miles tomorrow. And again, same Tuesday. Wednesday, we're on nights, I'll probably run into work. So it's about 10 mile. So obviously then, I've got to because you've run to work, you've got to run home.
Yes.
So that's like you get your next run in as well. And then you just fit it in.
Yeah.
I think I'm a big believer, if you want to do something, you'll find a way to do it. If you don't, you'll find an excuse not to.
Yes.
So you can always fit it in if you want to.
Yeah.
It may well get bigger that I get up on Wednesday and I think, I don't want to run to work, but I'll still definitely go for a run.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same as what Nicole, who was on one of the other episodes, said. She's a mother of 2, she runs mountain marathons in New Zealand.
Right.
And yeah, running for transport, like you say, run to work.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. That fits it in.
Yeah.
Because rather than having that commute time and then having a separate time for the run,
Absolutely,
it's probably going to take you a little bit longer to run than it does to drive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But actually, some people spend so much time sat in traffic, it isn't. You could run it in the time.
Yeah. I like the fact when it's on the night, so you run in, so you've got 2 days runs there.
Yes.
Because you run to work, you run home, and then if you want to do, you can run again that night. If you don't, you can relax.
Yeah.
So you can always find a way. And then, like between my next race is in about 3 weeks. I probably won't do any longer stuff. I went and joined one of my friends on Friday. He did 4.8 mile loops. He did 15 loops. I did only join him for 6 loops. So just over a marathon that I did. I'll probably do sort of marathon distance before then, but probably nothing longer than that.
Yeah. So what race?
It's the Spartathlon again.
Spartathlon again.
Yeah, back again for my punishment.
Yeah. So I've been admiring your t-shirts or your hoodie since you rocked up here. So when you go and do the Spartathlon, is this part of Team GB?
Yeah, so it's the British Spartathlon team, and we're quite lucky that we're sponsored by. There's a lot of people, there's like Race Drone Trackers, Pete Pinole, and there's a few other people that sponsor us, and they donate, so they're able to buy us all kit, and we look really, really professional.
Yes.
Everyone else same runs t-shirts, and even all crew same hoodies on, and just made it all look really professional. So we're very grateful to all the sponsors that make this possible for us.
Yeah, looks great.
It's something that's on your radar at some point. Never say never.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say never. Afterward, I mean, because people had mentioned that you'd done the race when I knew I was going to be speaking to you, I looked up a bit of information about the race. I'd vaguely heard of it before, but there are so many great races.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like a kid in a sweet shop. You just don't know where to start.
I must admit, I've never been one for going back and doing a race again. But when I finished Spartathlon, because it's not that cheap. I think it's €600 this year, but you get half board accommodation in Athens for 4 nights, half board accommodation in Sparta for 2 nights. You get a lunch with the mayor on the Sunday, then you get an evening awards ceremony on the Monday night. And when I was there at the awards ceremony, I was having a great laugh, dancing like idiots, and I thought, well, this is great, I want to do this again.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm back. And there's so many people do it year after year after year.
Yeah, you just got to well, I was going to say run fast. It's fast relative to the distance, isn't it?
It is fast. And I said those first, it's about 49.7 miles to Corinth Canal. It is fast.
So what sort of time you run in those first?
I think it's about nine and a half hours cut off to there. So you probably would, if you were going to, you'd probably choose to run a little bit slower.
Yes.
But it doesn't let you. It forces you to run faster.
Yeah, see, I could do that in that time if I was stopping there.
where I sort of like
but it's
got it thrown at my mind, I thought, right, I'm going to aim for the 4.5 hour marathon, a 5 hour marathon, then a 26 hour 100 miler. I actually did first marathon I did in 4 hours, second one I did in 5 hours, but obviously that's past me 49, so I was well in cut off. And then the 100 mile were a bit less than 20. I think I came in at about 33.50, which so I had 2 hours to play with, so I was more than happy with that. So again, I ain't bothered about trying to beat my time this year. I'm just going to go and enjoy myself, and it's one of those races. Just to finish is something to be proud of.
Yep.
So, and Dean Carnage is again this year. So because he did it, I think 2 years before I did it, but he's actually there again to run it this time. Right. So I get to race him. GQ's voted the fittest man in the world.
Right. Well, we'll see then.
Absolutely. Yeah. He does have a bit of the burden of people stopping him again to sign the book, so as he's running, we don't have that problem. We don't have that burden to bear.
No. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one, that, wouldn't it? People stopping you during the race. Yeah. The nearest I got to that was when I was doing the spine with my family popping up en route in a couple of places. You kind of feel obliged to at least stop and talk to them for 2 minutes, and it's fantastic seeing people and having support along the way. But you really don't want to stop.
I must admit, I did coast to coast in 2016 now, and that was a race where you've got to have your own crew. So you have in the car, and they sort of like leapfrog you and give all your drink, food and water. And I felt quite guilty really, because I talked to my friends. They didn't really know each other, but they're both my friends. So I talked them into both crewing for me.
Yep.
And like, you get there, you fill the water up, then you run out and you thought, I feel like I should have stopped and talked, but hey ho.
Yeah, my wife's kind of crewing for me next Saturday. Hardmore 60.
Yeah.
I don't really need anything outside of what's in the checkpoints.
Yeah.
I just debating whether at some point I might want to use my trekking poles. So having those available.
Yeah.
And
are they a bit heavy to take with anywhere?
Not really. I just think I'm going to run the whole thing without them.
Right.
But if I start to struggle, they make a world of difference. It's only if things start to go wrong that I feel I need them. I want to. I think I can run that distance without them. I just want to go as light as possible. I don't see the point in, if you don't need them, don't carry them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will need them. But certainly on the Spine Challenger, I needed them.
Well, I didn't have any for the Spine Challenger, and I ended up running with 2 people, and they both had walking poles, and both kept lending me a pole at a time. I thought, it does actually help.
Yeah.
So I got myself some for UTMB, and definitely used them. Definitely needed them.
Yeah, I'm kind of figuring anything longer than 60 miles, I definitely need them, and if it was anything, see the Hardmoors is a funny one. I'll know more after I've done it, but it's not a huge amount of ascent, but what is there is very steep. There's a lot of steps up and down.
I've not done the 60, but I've done the 55, and I'm not sure. I think it's a similar route with a little bit added on. But again, these 2 different ways they run it, the 55. They either sort of like go north-south or south to north.
Yeah.
So I don't know which way.
This is north to south.
Right.
So you're coming across from Gisborough and then down the coast.
Right.
Down to Filey. So yeah, there's it's. I did almost 3 times the ascent on the Lakeland 3-day event.
Yeah.
Over the 3 days.
Yeah.
So, and I'm stronger now than I was in May when I did that. So I know I can do the ascent. It's just the fact that it is, almost every piece of ascent is straight up a flight of steps, kind of thing. But it's just about walking those.
Yeah,
and really,
definitely.
I don't see any benefit at all trying to hold any kind of pace.
No.
On
There's no need to run up hills.
No, not. Yeah, that's something we touched on before, and I said let's hold that for inside the podcast, because what I've been doing is running up hills and training, and when I do, unless it's a long training run, if I'm doing anything over 20 miles, even if it's a training run, I won't be running up hills, and then in ultra races, just that's the lesson I've learned, is don't run up hills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatsoever.
Even if I'm going out and only running 5 or 6 mile, I don't run up hills. It's not that I can't. I only run up hill if I have to, and it's very rare I have to.
We'll take a big dog, I guess.
Well, have a look after a dog for one of my friends. It's a little staffy, gorgeous dog. You put that in a lead, it'll pull you up anywhere.
So it's an interesting one. You're saying that about not running up hills. I'm kind of been throwing it around in my mind, because I'm a big believer in the benefit of doing lots of slow running. I do a lot of walking as well, which it's becoming less as a proportion of my running. Through last year, it was really important, because what I've learned over the years, because when you kind of start doing something at sort of 39 years old, as I did, at least you got enough years of life experience to know something about your body. And I knew that if I wanted to progress as quickly as possible, what works for me is little and often.
Right.
And so rather than trying to run 10 miles a day in one go, if I was going to run 10 miles a day early on, I needed to break it up into 3 small runs.
Right.
My body would take that better, would recover better. The problem I saw with trying to run 3 times a day is that
all the washing,
all the showers, it just takes too much time. So I realised, well, actually, if I go for a walk for 20 minutes, half an hour, we're talking about a brisk walk, basically push myself as hard as I can without starting to sweat, so I don't have to change my clothes, because it just takes so much time. and it is just about managing the time and fitting things in. If I go for a brisk walk twice a day, run once a day, sometimes run twice a day, walk once a day, and obviously sometimes it's swimming or cycling or some of that kind of cross training in there, that really works for me. And I think as long as you're walking fast enough to start to raise your heart rate.
And when I'm talking about walking up hills, I'm not talking about a nice it is a decent pace.
I mean, again, if I drop my running pace down to the slowest pace, where I am actually still running, if you know what I mean, I can walk faster than that. So there is a crossover point where it is just more efficient to walk, isn't it?
We went out it was like, I used to train at karate, and I used to have a weekend away every year, and we went to Wales one year, and I said, right, I'm going to go up in the morning and go for a run if anyone wants to come with me. So one says, oh yeah, I'll come and run with you. So I think we only like 5 or 6 mile, but we were stopping in these like cottages on a hill. So we came out, we ran to the bottom, ran around these streams, lakes, wherever they were. As we starts going back to this hill, I starts, he says, what are you doing? I said, I don't run uphill. He says, what do you mean? I said, I don't run uphill. So he's running and I'm walking. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm running. I said, but you got the same speed as me. He says, yeah, but I like to run. I thought, well, so he's still going at the same speed as me, but he wanted to run. That's an hour.
Yep. Cheers. So we're just going to check and make sure that this recording equipment doesn't let us down the way it did with Amjad. Okay.
All good.
It's interesting that's in and out, because that says 55 minutes.
But to be fair, I started this probably before we sat down.
Yes, you did. Yeah. But it's good, because I'll check it again and just make sure we don't. It was such a sinking feeling when I looked at that recording last week and found that there was some of it missing. I ended up having to listen back to quite a long section to work out where in the conversation it finished.
Right.
And then I got in touch with Amjad and said, look, do you mind if I just do a little fill piece at the end to explain what's happened?
Right.
And because I'd asked him one of the kind of classic ending questions of what advice would you give to somebody, because he'd just done Hell on the Humber.
Right.
I think was it second or third time he's done Hell on the Humber.
Yep.
Which is a very different kind of race.
I love it.
Usually do.
In fact, it were already sold out this year, 'cause I was planning on doing a race in Scotland, but I mean, I booked for this race in Scotland in November. Then one thing led to another, and we couldn't really get the time off, and then I was going on holiday. It would have been very, very tight for me to get up to Scotland,
Yes.
run 212 miles across Scotland, then get back, and then flight next day on holiday. I thought, I'm putting myself under too much pressure, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So as it happens, I had that weekend free. So I thought, ooh. But I looked at it, we're already full. I'm sure if I'd rung it, maybe it'd let me entry on day. But anyway, I wish I had done. It is a race I enjoy.
Yeah. So how many times have you done that?
I've done the 6 hour 3 times. Well, the Halloween and the Christmas about 3 or 4 times. I actually entered the 9 hour in March, but the dog that we're looking after, we took it with us and it needed to get back, so I had to drop to 6 hour, and I felt a bit guilty doing that because I ended up winning the 6 hour race then. And poor lad had finished 6 hour on 34 miles, I'd got 40 miles in, so I didn't mean to, but sorry, I beat him. But I've already booked into the 36 for next year,
Right.
which could be interesting because the coast to coast I did 2 years ago, I won that and I set the record. And someone has just beat me, a friend of mine has just beat me a fortnight ago by 10 minutes. So it's like, I'm going to have to go back.
You're going to have to go back to that. So how far's the coast to coast?
150.
150, how long's that? What's
28 hours, 56 minutes I did. And he did 28 hours, 46. Which, obviously, the fact that he won it, he was impressed. I mean, he's a friend of mine, fair play to him, I'm glad he did it. And the fact that he's got the course record, but what's more important is for Spartathlon, you've got a set time. So, for example, a 100-mile race is 21 hours now. If you can do 20% better than that qualifying standard, you don't have to go through a ballot.
Right.
So they call an auto qualifier.
Yeah.
So my time I use the coast to coast as my qualifier for this year. If I'd have run 8 minutes faster, I wouldn't have had to go through a ballot. It would have been an auto qualifier. So the fact that my friends beat me, but by enough, so he's got an auto qualifier for next year. So he knows he's got a place for Spartathlon next year. So that's more of an incentive to go back, and even if I came second or third, but still got 28 hours and 46 minutes, I'll be over the moon.
Yep.
The downside is the race next year is the week after the 36 hour off. I'm doing it. It's whether I actually win it is going to be another thing. Because I'm going to have a right good go at the 36 hour as well.
Yep. Yeah. I'm just sat here just amazed by how much. I mean, I've learned a lot myself in my own expectations of what I can do without getting tired, and you know, keep feeding my body. And what you're doing, in my mind, is about 3 times what I'm doing, of that order. And I just. You must constantly eat.
I do, and that's why you notice back in the last year when I wasn't running as much. Well, in fact, John Steele, that runs Hardmoors races, he has this thing where he's got a Shire category. Yes. So I did Hardmoors 30 on New Year's Day. So and he says, right, so we've got the Shire category, and I'm stood there. He says, look at you, what's happened? I stood on scales on January 1st, so 98 kilos, the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I thought I need to do something about this. I think I did a race. April time, called the Dead Sheep Race. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Don't think so.
I can't talk too much about it. It's in a secret location in the UK. It's sort of like touted as the British Barclay Marathons.
Okay.
Well, put it this way, no one finished it.
Right.
It's similar sort of thing to Barclay. You did 5 laps. And at first, because it's Mark that runs it, and I've done quite a few of his races, and it started off being called the Dead Sheep 100. So I thought, 5 20-mile laps, that should be alright. In 30 hours, that should be alright. And you only found out where it was held a couple of weeks before when they told you which map to buy. I thought, that looks a little bit lumpy. And you're driving there, very lumpy. Then when I got them, they're changing it. It's not the dead sheep 100 anymore, it's the dead sheep race. Like, put it this way, I did 1 lap in 14 and a half hours, and it was a lot more than 20 miles. The winner, although he didn't finish the race, he did 3 laps in the 30 hours. You're like, so it was good fun though.
Yeah.
Good fun.
That's a special kind of race.
It is. It's on again next year. I've been planning my next year's booking on my racing, and I don't think, unless I get a last minute and manage to get that weekend off work, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. But it's looking quite full as it is next year's races. Because another one of Mark's, I don't know if you've heard of it, called the Tunnel. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's he says, is anyone interested in a flat 200 mile race? I'm like, possibly, but it's a 200 mile race with a difference. It's all underground. I think the tunnel, it's half a mile long, so you start one side, run the other side, turn around and run back, and you repeat till you've done 200 miles. But you've only got a 55-hour cut-off, so that's going to be very, very tough.
Wow. So
that's March.
Yeah, how do you pace yourself for that?
I don't know. I've never done it. Well, I said 202 miles took me 61 hours.
So it's something that intrigues me about how you pace on something that's completely flat.
It's going to be very tough. Now the Enduro Man, where I did that 202 miles, so they'd run a 200 mile race for a few years and nobody had ever finished it. The first year that I went down there and won that with a 107 mile, they actually had 3 people finish it. The first time it ever happened. And the winner, Steve, he did it in 53 hours. 53, and it's a tough course. 1.1 miles, and there's over 100 feet of climbing in each lap. So it's a tough course in 53 hours.
Wow.
So it'd be all right at Tunnel. But majority of us were...
Just check this. Check that both these are still going. That one's still going. That one's still going. Perfect.
Very good. Yeah, so...
I'd rather not be interrupted, but
Yeah, 55 hours for 200, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be raining.
No, but then you'll get some extreme weather and the tunnel will get flooded or something.
Probably. And I can imagine the hallucinations are going to be quite interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's another one of Mark's. Have you heard of the Hill?
This is a whole new underground racing scene that I've not heard anything about.
Main events, it calls it the hard stuff. So I was the second person to finish his Grand Slam. So there were the Viking Way, which is 152 miles.
That one rings a bell.
Yeah. I think that was his first race he ever put on. I did it in 2016, I think. The Coast to Coast and the Hill. So those were his original 3 races. And the Hill, someone told me about that and said, right up your street. It's 160 miles. I thought, then I started looking, so it was 2015 I did that. But I had to look at it, and so it'd only been run 2 years before. The first year, the only person to finish it was John Steele, that runs the hard nose races. He was the only finisher. I thought, I like the sound of this. It's that tough, only one person can finish it. So then I looked at the year before, then there were 3 people that finished it. I thought, and I think you're probably talking about 30, 35 people starting it.
Yeah.
So I did it, I think it was 2015. I managed to come 3rd in it. I did quite well. But after, so they use a pub as the aid station, and that Cat and Fiddle, it's closed. Now, so they've not run that race again. And loads, because there's that many really talented runners that have not finished it. Plus, they've lots of people over it. Loads of people, so all you've got to do is say, right, and put it on, and it will fill up straight away. So what Mark's done is he's done the Hill on Tour this year. So I've already entered that, and it's on Whernside. So have you done the 3 peaks, the Yorkshire 3 peaks? Yeah. So if you imagine the route you go up there, when you come down Whernside, you've got a gate there, and then from that gate, I think it's about mile and a half to the old Hill pub. You come to a road and there's a bunkhouse there. So we start at that bunkhouse and we run to that gate for Whernside, turn around and run back. We do that 44 times. Then on the 45th time we go up to top of Whernside and come back. So he said it's 160 miles. Well, I were up there anyway, so I did a 1 lap recce, and I think I got to about 3.3 miles. So I reckon it's about 165. That's going to be tough. That's going to be very tough. And what's going to be interesting with that, there's quite a lot of cattle grids. So I worked out by the time you'd finished, you're going to pass a cattle grid 540 times. That's just asking for trouble when you're tired.
Just jumped into my mind. I was up in Scotland a few weeks ago now with the family, and I've got a 7-year-old son, and he said he wanted to go out for a run, and anytime he wants to go, I'll take him out for a run. And so I said, all right, come on, we're running down from this cottage. And I forgot that he doesn't know about cattle grids. And he just went straight down on the cattle grid. And it hurts going down on a cattle grid.
Yeah.
and that was right at the start of the run as well. And it was just like, all right, come on, you'll be okay. Just get it. Just, we'll walk for a minute. Like, felt so guilty, not explaining the cattle grid to him. In fact, how careful you have to be.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting. Obviously, the hills is going to hurt your legs, but when you go over on one of them, it can snap your ankle. So especially when you're tired. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It is. Yeah.
So that's December. Then January, because he's doing a winter Viking Way. I'm going to have to go under because he's decided he's doing he's calling it a super slam. So you've got winter Viking Way, the coast to coast again that he's doing next year, the tunnel. Another one. There's long lasts. That's top of Wales to bottom of Wales, 253 miles. I think there were 5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the hill. Yeah.
I was just thinking, with the kind of distances and pace that you're maintaining over that distance, you could have a go at the fastest known time on the Pennine Way. You mustn't be far off.
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. The Fusion this time, like called Mark Denby, I actually ran the last 60 miles of the Spine Challenger with him. Great company. Looking at, because I see him at races, how I managed to run a mile with him, I don't know. He's absolutely ridiculously fast. All I can assume is he's got a lot faster than when he ran with me. He did the summer full one. The Fusion. He won that in 2.5 days, 3.5 days. Yeah. Ridiculously fast. Yeah. I don't think I can trouble him. Definitely not.
I was thinking more along the lines of not doing it in the race, but doing it with support. So you can.
I don't know. To me, I would like to go and run the whole Pennine Way, but do it all rather than try and put any pressure on myself to try and do it fastest. Because I know I wouldn't. It's like Lans and John O'Groats. I will go back and do it again, but like I say, I have no intention. Someone just tried to break the record, and he came close, and he's 10 times the runner I ever will be.
I was just thinking about that when you were talking about Lans and John O'Groats. I thought, that suddenly went quiet. That means he dropped out. Means he didn't finish.
Dan
Lawson.
Yeah. I think he got not far off, but I think he knew he wasn't going to manage it. But I was running with a friend on Friday.
I guess that's exactly matches your point. You hear about people, they go out to do Land's End, John O'Groats to Land's End. I think he was doing.
I don't know why people tend to run it top to bottom and cycle it bottom to top. I don't know why.
And because he's not going to set a new record, he stops. And you think, well, wouldn't you want to just finish it anyway?
I don't know. I remember reading about a lot of professional triathletes. It used to be a lot of them in a race, and they wouldn't finish it.
That's what I mean.
And I used to think but then you sort of like these professional triathletes, they're paid for where they finish. And as much as I don't agree with it, I can sort of see why they do it. Because if they finish 18th, they won't get any sponsorship. If they don't finish, it's fine. And like I say, I don't agree with it, but I can sort of understand why they do it.
I can understand that element, I guess.
But I think Danske, I think his goal was to break the record. And I think once like I said, because I was following him, so he got to Carlisle in 4 days. That took me 8 days to get there. And you think,
he was good.
Absolutely. And like I say, he's like 100 times the runner I will ever be. But the fact that I will never run that fast, it doesn't bother me. I run because I enjoy it.
Well, that's the same for me. I mean, I'd never say never, but I honestly don't believe I'll ever be at the level that you're at. I never say never, but I don't believe I will be. But I'm completely happy with that.
Exactly.
Because there's so many races I can go in and have a great experience and have a fantastic time and just enjoy running, enjoy the scene.
And that's what it should be about,
that's what it's about for me. I mean, I'm really looking forward to probably I've actually got a whole string of people lined up for the podcast. We had a bit of a gap because I was struggling to not necessarily to find people, but find the right time. Like with yourself, it's taken a while to find the time when we're both available. But I've got somebody coming on who she's just done the Great North Run.
Right.
Like
I think this week. Oh, today. Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
And that's the furthest she's ever run.
Right.
And a very good friend of mine has just done his first marathon today.
Right.
And I'm really interested in that kind of thing because, it's so easy to kind of dismiss. You see some people dismissing. You've just done that. These people have done this, but
look at it. If you're a runner, if you run, you're a runner.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think of myself as an ultra runner. I'm just a runner.
Yeah.
I just happen to run quite a few miles, but
yeah, it was funny. My son's football yesterday, and I bumped into one of these people. He's in the same running club as me. He knows all the people I know, but I'd not met him yet. And he was just talking to a lady who was running around the outside of the pitch, while our kid plays football, and she was just sort of shouting to Mac and saying, I can't run as far as you. I only do 10Ks. And I says to him, I better not tell her how far I run.
Yeah, exactly.
And and the only reason I wouldn't want to tell her is because I wouldn't want to put her down, because if she's doing 10Ks and she's happy with that, brilliant.
Yeah. Then my friend that I was running with on Friday, he said he were doing this race, and I can't remember what race it was, but he was coming through London, somewhere in London. He did all run about 48 mile. He said, this lad with his dad, and he said, out of 5 years, he says 48 mile, and his father says, liar. It's like some people, he says, they couldn't comprehend it.
No,
it's like, just carry on running.
Yeah, I mean, it was the nice thing because I had a sort of big sponsorship drive for the mountain rescue team that I'm in when I was doing the Spine Challenger, and there was one of my colleagues who was in California who's made a very, very generous donation simply because he'd never personally known anybody that had attempted to cover 100 miles on foot in one go. Right. And so he made a really big donation, just like you say, because he was like, I can't believe you're going to do that.
And to some people, it's like, it seemed, but like people I work with, like at the beginning, they thought I was mad. To be fair, I used to do a lot of cycling. I was a triathlon before I got into running as much as I have done. And I used to cycle long distances. Yeah. And they thought I was a bit daft then. So when I started running long distance, they thought a bit. Now they just think it's totally normal.
Yeah.
And then when they hear me tell them about people that run so much further than me and so much faster than me, and they're like, "Well, what do you mean? You mean people?" I'm just normal. Yeah. There's people that are extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, that's what I keep saying. It was something that just absolutely fascinated me when I heard about it. Obviously there's this myth about doing 10,000 steps a day, which was invented in Japan as a round number and doesn't mean anything at all. Right. No science behind it. There is science behind research that was done. There's this tribe that still has a truly traditional lifestyle, no modernization whatsoever, that have been studied. They do 17,000 steps a day. Right. Between like adolescence and old age, like beyond 70 years old, they're doing 17,000 steps a day. Now, my peak training month, going up to 100 mile, 60 mile, 100k race, I've just managed an average of 17,000 steps a day. Right. I won't tell you mine. Well, no, but what I've done is I only feel like I've undone the modern lifestyle. What I've done should be normal, completely normal.
We are nowhere near as active in our lives as like in past. Like when you said they're doing 17,000 steps, they aren't going out and doing steps to get healthier. No, they're doing it for the job, for the to get the water, for whatever they need to do.
They're doing it. They're foraging. They're hunter-gatherers. They're going to find fruit. They're going to find water. They're going to hunt animals, and that's how far they have to travel to do that. And that's what our bodies evolved to do as a norm. Every single day for the vast majority of your life. It's
like when you read the books about persistence hunting and how people, before they had tools, they used to run the antelopes down. It's like, we don't do that anymore.
No, but that's, and then we'll always have the exceptional people that are pushing the envelope beyond that. But I think ultra running is really in its infancy.
I think it is getting a lot more known, if you like, a lot more. It's a lot more inclusive. I mean, if you go about 10 years, there were a lot less races going on. I mean, you can pick a race calendar up now, and pretty much every weekend you're going to have an ultra race. They are that, and a lot of them will be full. Like John Steele, somebody puts a race up pretty much a year in advance, they all sell out. And lots of other people, really good races.
That Lakeland.
Absolutely. If 100. You're not fast on your finger there, you don't get in here.
It crashed entries. Server completely crashed it. I guess the server thought it was getting a denial of service attack, because so 1,700 people all logged in at the same time and tried to enter the race.
I've not tried for it myself, but I know people that have, and he says, you need luck with you. In fact, a friend of mine did it, and he says he made a mistake because you've got to put your experience down, and he didn't do it, so he sent it, but he says he thinks that because he did that, so basically he emailed him and said, you haven't done this, and he had the experience, but because he hadn't done that, and he thinks that's why it got through in time, so obviously he proved his experience and he got his place.
Well, I hadn't thought about it enough beforehand, because what I should have done is written it all out and I could just do copy and paste. So I kind of scrabbled it in really quick, sent it, and then realised, like you say, they sent an email through saying, okay, we're not going to look at these for about a week. Go back in and update them. I sent that to all the 100 entries. So I went back in and added clearer information. Exact times, not just what I remembered, and that kind of thing. It's a way of doing it, and there's no perfect ways. It's a race that's popular. It's like you talk like UTMB and Spartathlon. That when people want to do it, they've got to put things in place to make it so. What you can say, fair? Maybe not the right word, but and you've got to make choices about how you go, because you could make it very exclusive by. It sounds like the Spartathlon's very hard to get into. You've got to be, really top runner to get into it. Makes it sort of exclusive on ability. You could put the price up really, really high. I mean, Marathon des Sables or something like that's vastly expensive.
It is.
And
that's not something that. I mean, there is some races. There's what are they called? 4 deserts. I did look at those. Well,
Amjad, who was on the last episode, he's done one of those. Right.
But so I read about it, and they sound brilliant. But then, so the 4th desert, Atacama, the Antarctic, it says it's only by invitation if you've done, I think you had to do 2, or at least 2, maybe 3 of the other ones in that year. And I think when I looked, it was about 16 grand to do it. It's like,
there's another standalone one in Antarctica that I've looked at, and it's that kind of price. That's
maybe one day if you've got those 6 numbers, you could think about it.
It's been my kind of lifetime dream to go to Antarctica for any reason whatsoever, and now that's kind of my kind of now I've got a reason to go.
But there is that many races out there.
There are so many really good races. That's the thing. You're just spoiled for choice. It's great.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not complaining. But that's how I've pretty much planned all next year's races now. In fact, I was running with the lad on Friday who does. Have you heard of some race called Punk Panther? The lad that runs them, and I can't remember the name. It's a trail about 80 miles long, and it's 50 years, a 50-year anniversary next year. So he's put an ultra on the whole length of it. And because I booked all the time off schedule it all, I thought if it were on a time when I were off.
A friend of mine entered that.
Right.
I know another one you're talking about. Yeah.
But it's on the 17th of August, which is under Helen Lumber. So I'll have to give that one a miss for this year.
Yeah.
But he sounds like he's. I think he's only been going 2 years, but it gives everyone points. So I think it sort of like encourages you to do more races. Which again, it seems to be getting a lot of people coming into his races. So it's obviously doing something right.
Yeah, a lot of good ones about. So I guess we should look at wrapping up, because
very good.
Yeah, I'm sure we could chat forever, but so let's go with that classic question of what advice would you give somebody who kind of people wrestle with this idea of how much can I do, what should I do?
I would say to everyone, don't let anyone tell you what to do. By all means, read up as much as you can and get information about what has worked for other people. But you need to trial and error. So by all means, listen to what has worked for the people and try it. If it works, great. But don't let anyone tell you need to do this, you need to do that, and just do what you enjoy. When all said and done, we run because we enjoy it. It should all be enjoyable. If running uphill You know, some people love it, don't get me wrong, and fair play to you, if that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. I personally don't like it, but if that's what you want to do, then do that. But you know, don't do something because you think, oh, this will make me better at running. Do something because you enjoy it. You will get better at running. But when all said and done, that's the most important thing, that you enjoy what you're doing.
Yep. You're all with a smile on your face.
Running makes you happy.
It does, it really does. Right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Running Your Stories. Just a quick reminder, you can follow us on Facebook, you can get us on your iPhone through the podcast app, you can get us on your Android phone through Google Podcasts, and we're on YouTube, also on Podbean and Facebook, and we'll see, maybe we'll be on Instagram or Twitter soon as well. It's just all extra work updating all those links and putting out pictures and things, but this is going great. We really like the feedback, so please keep giving us feedback as well. We have some fascinating episodes coming up soon. We've got a fantastic lineup of guests coming along, so thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe, give us some likes, give us some shares. Thank you very much. Bye.